Oh hey guys, I'm just gonna have a snack here for a moment. I'll get to the review in a moment. Look how green the avocados are in this guacamole. You can feel the saltiness of the chips on my finger. Ah, the spiciness of all the guacamole, the smoothness as it went down, the crunch of the chip. Oh god. Where the hell's my pants? Welcome guys, I'm Cool Joe and welcome to my review of Food Wars. There are a type of shows out there that are classified as a type of show when they come out, and they have the stigma all the way through. Food Wars was no exception, with their authentic food porn. Yeah. Why do you want to be griped with a show? Why would anyone want to watch a show that's called food porn? If I asked anyone about it, that's what they would say to me, and if I told anyone else about it, without me explaining it into the sentence or showing this video, I would say food porn. And they still wouldn't watch it. Okay, let's take a look at Food Wars, which was produced by JC Staff in 2015 in the spring to summer season, and they're actually going to have a second season right now. Or right about right now, depending on when this review actually comes out. The basic plot for the story is that the main protagonist, Soma, has ambitions to become a master chef while he's working at his father's diner. His father has to move away to do some business for a few years, so he has to close down the diners, which will happen for about a few years now. Soma, wanting to pursue his actual career, his father sent him to a culinary school where he was going to be taught how to cook food and how to become a master chef. But what his father didn't tell him is he sent him to the pristine, highest culinary school in all of Japan, if not the world. Let's talk about characters. Let's talk about Soma for a moment. Soma's the main protagonist of this, and he's the basic main protagonist. He's clueless when it comes to girls and is exceptionally well at what he does, mainly in the cooking field. Like, if we had a fighting show and we had a standard protagonist, he's gonna be decent at fighting. Even though, I argue, Soma actually has way more chops than most people would, because most shows to the standard would actually have people trying to train more, even though Soma in the cooking field, he knows quite a bit, and he's just showcasing his creativity in his dishes mainly. So I argue it's a little bit different, and the way they show off it is very cool and very different than most other shows would. And also it's food, and I really do like food. Our next character is Erina Nagati, which I probably did not pronounce that right. I'll put that down there, and I'll give you the correct name. Please do not haunt me in the comments about that. But basically, she is just a cookie cutout tsundere, which she isn't terrible as a tsundere. She probably is one of the better cookie cutout tsunderes. If there is a judge on that, she isn't Asuna bad, but she's at a very good medium where I don't get annoyed by her, but I do think it's good. But it's also under the stasis that I kind of like tsunderes. Erina has the gift called the God's Tongue, which, don't let the boys hear about that. That is, I bet her father's worried about that nickname. But basically what the God's Tongue does is she can taste any food and detect what's wrong with the food and how good the food is based on that, and she can tell where certain ingredients are from. For example, like during the show, they had her tasting different bits of salt, and she was telling them where the salt was founded from. Also, being the tsundere that she is, she has a rivalry with our main character, Soma. But the main problem with it, their screen time together was short compared to a lot of other secondary characters, and I believe she's closer to a main character than she is a secondary character, so I believe they should have boosted her up a little bit more. That is my main concern with her, other than the simple fact that she's kind of a cookie cutout tsundere. So she has perks, minuses, but overall she's a pretty decent character. Another character is Megumi Taberado, which if I did not pronounce that properly, obviously there as well. But basically what she is, she's Soma's cooking sidekick, That is basically how I describe her, and she is shy as all hell, and that's supposed to be kind of cute, of course, which kind of works, kind of doesn't, but overall she's a very good character, and I feel like her overall like development throughout the show actually is pretty decent of a character in this kind of a show. She is the one character who actually developed at all, if not the most, in this show. Because I really don't know. There wasn't that many characters that I felt developed in the show. Soma I didn't feel like developed, and none of the other characters really developed. So props to her. She's #1 character in Food Wars. And now for all the other characters, the side characters. The side characters, there's quite a bit of them. And like 5 of them were other rivals, and they never really wanted to focus on one rival. They kind of like did it at a time, but it's like they should focus one all together on one. The rest of the characters, or all of the characters actually, are over the top, especially the side characters. If you wanted more over the top characters, there you go. You got what you wished for. Now, the animation was done by JC Staff. JC Staff produces actually very nice animation, but for Food Wars, they created something that I argue was fairly standard. More on the good side of average. I argue it was a little bit above average, but not anything to write home about. It was like, there's a few pretty pictures there, but not enough. And the most of the time that they actually focused on were the ecchi portions, which, in all honesty, were the worst parts of that show. It just were really weird and just felt, they didn't feel out of place because the show was very over the top, but I didn't feel like they were necessary, and they could have made the whole entire thing feel better. The chibi portions were alright, the over top, and also the music. The music is very good. The music has more of a whimsical feel to it, so I feel like it works. It has a really good balance of this over-top world, but it has a nice balance to it. And if I'm playing the song right now, as I hope I do in editing, is like, they have a nice song where they use the violin, and they're like swishing. It goes along with the way they're cooking. If they're moving their pan, they're like swish, swish with the violin, which they don't swish with violins, but whatever. But it looks, and they like tuned it so it like sounded like they went together perfectly. It's kind of like an Attack on Titan when they get the music just right, and you feel very powerful from it. That's kind of how it was, but more in a whimsical sense, and feel great about them cooking, and cooking foods that you cannot eat. At the end of the day, what really matters is how much I enjoyed it and how much I'm willing to recommend to people, I guess. And that's usually kind of what I rank on, but I also do include animation story as a major factor in how I enjoy a show. So my overall enjoyment of the show is like, the obvious negative is the gimmick that is food porn. It's just such a gimmick that I feel like they put so much effort. They looked at the chart and they're like, ecchi sells. Look at High School DxD or High School of the Dead. Those are 2 big ecchi series. They made a lot of money, and that's why they put them in there. And I felt like they just looked at a chart and that's what they did. I feel like it detracts so much from the show, because I would have watched the show sooner if it wasn't for that, because I was just looking for a show to watch, and I heard kind of good things about Food Wars, kind of negative, so it's like, this looks like a hodgepodge that looks like either something funny to laugh at, or something legitimately kind of good to watch. But we're in a very big median there. Now, side characters. Side characters, the good ones are good. There's just not very few. There's just not many of them. There's way more not bad side characters, are just not important, A, or B, they get very little screen time. The thing I actually kind of did like about the show is how over the top it was. Now, you have to be in the proper mood to obviously watch a show that's so over the top to the point where they're just doing cooking competitions, and there are certain things that are happening, and everyone's running, and people are being bashed because they're trying to get the best pan or the best ingredients, and it's really hectic, very over the top. I mean, I think it works for the show and how they set it up, how they made it feel. I mean, I think this is the proper way of how they could do a food show and try to do it more serious, but trying to be it playful by just raising the stakes and made it over the top. Kind of like Fullmetal Panic Flammufoo. It was over the top with slapstick, but it was still fun to watch. Now, overall rating, I give it a 7.3 and a recommendation to stream it or buy it if it's cheap and you enjoyed it. Now, obviously watch the first 3 episodes if it's your thing. If there's too much edgy, keep on continuing, because after the 5th episode, I say it tones down quite a bit, but still there's quite a bit there. It's kind of a mixed bag, and I argue it's good for some people, good, bad for a lot of others, and I feel like it gets kind of pooped on for the wrong reasons. It's popular, but not to a very large extent. It's just kind of in the middle for me. It's not really good, but it's not really bad. It's just above average, and that's fine. Now, honestly, there's going to be a 2nd season coming out, and I am kind of curious to watch and see how the rest of the show plays out. I might do a review, maybe do a little bit of reaction to it, maybe not. Only time will tell, depending on how crazy the show will be. If you liked this video, give it a like. Comment down below what you thought of the show or other reviews that you would like me to do. And I guess I'll see you later.